Welcome to Sunday Springboard with Melanie and Kimberlyn Coaching, where we help women become confident and thrive after toxic relationships. Do you ever have that critical voice in your head that just won't let you go, that continues to berate you and be negative and critical? We often hear that called the inner critic, and we're going to talk about that today. Let me share my screen with you. So maybe you've heard a voice that sounds like this. Maybe it says, you're not smart enough, you're not thin enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not educated enough. Might sound things like this. You're not prepared enough, you're not brave enough, you're going to embarrass yourself, you're just not enough. This is that inner critic. And we hear the inner critic as, there are three different metaphors that I know of that people use. One, as I said, the inner critic. It can also be known as the judge. The judge is always judging you, keeping you judging other people. The judge is always mean. Could also be a gremlin. A gremlin might be trying to help you stay safe or help you not embarrass yourself. All of these things come from our past. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But these three words are what we normally call this voice in our head, this critical voice. Breaking news, that voice is not you. That inner critic voice in your head is not actually you. We think it's ourselves trying to protect us, trying to give us wisdom. It is not. It is a voice from the past. Our brain has created this voice. We'll actually talk more about this next week. Next week we'll talk about how to lose the inner critic. This week what I want to do is I want to help you determine when is it the inner critic or the gremlin, and when is it our own voice that we're hearing. They're very different. So again, here are the voices of the inner critic or the judge. It could be a critical school teacher, parent, coach. It could be the mean judge, just judging everything. It could be the gremlin, trying to protect you in its own weirdly negative way. All right, how do I recognize it? So here are some ways that we can decide it's the gremlin or the inner critic and not ourselves. This voice is always harsh and rude and mean. Says things to you that you would never say these to your friend. You would never say this to someone that you love. That's one way to know that this is not yourself saying this. This is your gremlin. It's also a black and white thinker. You're either right or you're wrong. You're good or you're bad. You're a winner or you're a loser. You're perfect or you're nothing. So there's no room for gray. There's no room for progress. There's no room for growth. It's just win or lose. This voice also will tell you on and on and on, you aren't ready yet. You may have 2 degrees. You may have 15 certificates. You may have all these different qualifications, but this voice may still be telling you, you need one more. You need one more. You need more clients, you need more sales, you need more, you need more, you need more. You can't go out there yet. Some other ways to recognize it, it's the voice of body criticism. You're going out in that, you're too small, you're too thin, you're too fat, you're too bumpy, you're too lumpy, you're too out of proportion, your clothes are not stylish, on and on. As women, we especially get this from the world, from the public media. All the bodies of these models and actresses that we've seen all our lives, we compared ourselves to them, and we know now that they're photoshopped and they're airbrushed, and the bodies that we're seeing are not real and not true to what those women actually look at. But when we were young and it was so impressioned on our brains, we thought their bodies, what we were seeing was real, and we thought that was how we should be. And so now we've got this little voice all the time. Most women I know, your body is not good enough. How can you get up in front of people, or how can you do this or that or this or that? Because your body is not good enough. taking that on into other things, that perfectionism. You got to do it perfectly, or you might as well not do it at all. This can be in so many things. Maybe you're working on a project. Maybe you're thinking about applying for a job, but you don't feel like you have your paperwork perfect. Maybe you want to have people over your house, but you feel like you have to get your house cleaned perfectly. All these things that we wait to do because we have to get them perfect before we can do them. And that voice is always telling you, it's not good enough yet. It's not good enough. Do it one more time. Do it one more time. Don't show it to anybody yet. Do it one more time. It's not perfect yet. This holds us back, keeps us stuck in the rut. And this voice is like a tape or a broken record. It's just playing over and over in our head. It could be a person's voice. It could be your parents' voice over and over in your head. You're so stupid. You can never do anything right. And it's like a broken record. It says the same words. Generally, these are the same words you have been hearing all your life. And it's very instructive to actually listen and decide, what are those words? Your gremlin may be saying you're not pretty enough. It could be saying you're not smart enough. It could just be saying you're not enough. Some more ways that you can determine that it's the critical voice and not your own is the things it says. We may know they're not true and they're irrational if we stop and think, or if we find ourselves saying it to someone else, we can hear how irrational it is, but it still persists. We still listen to it, even though we can say, this doesn't make sense. This old 1-2 punch, I love this. You can't win for losing with this one. So let's say you're in a room with a bunch of people. Maybe you're thinking, okay, I need to go meet some people. I'm trying to network, or I'm trying to make friends. And your gremlin is like, oh no, she's going to go try to make friends. She's going to talk to people. She may get, people might not respond to her well. She may be ignored. She might get hurt. So I got to stop her. So this voice is going to say, oh, look at all those people. They're so much more something, right? They're richer than you. They're smarter than you. Maybe they have more recovery than you. Maybe they have more experience, more sales or clients. Maybe they're prettier. Maybe they're thinner. All these things that they're telling you about the people around you to make you not want to go reach out. But then the 1-2 punch is that first it gives you these critical self-thoughts, and then it criticizes you for having those thoughts. So it says like, what is up with you? Why are you so down on yourself? Why don't you get a perspective on this thing? Get yourself together. You're always doing this. So the 1-2 punch gives you critical thoughts and then slaps you for having them. And this voice, as I've mentioned several times, this can take inspiration from the people in your life who have criticized you. Maybe your father, your mother, your teacher, your coach, maybe just other people that were in your life who were critical in a way that just really stuck with you. And so that's another thing to listen for when you hear this voice. Who are you hearing? You're not hearing yourself, you're hearing someone else. So next week, we're going to learn how to lose this critic. What I would like for you to do this week is determine which word you like better, which metaphor, whether you like inner critic, gremlin, or judge better. And then through the week, I'd like you to start listening. And when you have that voice, determine that it is that voice and determine that it is, label it. Oh, that's just the judge talking to me. Oh, that's my gremlin. You can even give them a name. We'll actually talk about that next week. Give them a name, or so that's George or Mildred getting on my case, and start learning to separate yourself out and realizing this voice is not you. This voice is something else that you do not have to let control your life. Now, if you would like some help in doing any of this, I would love to talk with you. There's a link at the bottom of the show notes. You can schedule a free confidence consult, and we could determine whether we would be able to work together well in a coaching relationship and be able to help you move out of these negativities and into that powerful world that you can have and you should have. Have a great week. Bye-bye.